I want you to think of your favorite movie ever made. The movie that makes you happy from the moment it starts till the moment it ends. Got it? Good. Now what if I told you that your favorite movie was made by somebody that's been caught up in terrible crimes? Crimes so bad that they had to evade the law in America and escape into a foreign country. Would that change the way at all you view your favorite film?
This is the greatest pianist in Poland, maybe the whole world.
The Pianist is a war drama focusing on the Holocaust in Warsaw. The film follows Władek Szpilman, a Jewish pianist, as he does his best to survive the horrific events of the Holocaust. It's a depressing film that's hard to watch more than once because of how raw the entire story feels. That is honestly one of the highest compliments I can give to any film. If a movie can transcend from feeling like just a movie to feel like it's practically a documentary, then that movie is something special. It's hard to explain exactly what I'm talking about without actually having seen movies that break the barrier of just feeling like a movie, so check out these movies I'm going to list on screen so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Back on topic. It turned out that it was not just me that felt incredibly moved by this film. The Pianist was critically acclaimed and went on to win Oscars for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor in a Leading Role, and even Best Director. This is a beloved film on a technical level, there's no doubt about it, but there's a much darker side to this film that may change the way you view this achievement in filmmaking. The Pianist was directed by French-Polish director Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski was actually a prisoner in one of the ghettos made by the Nazis in 1939. He was separated from his parents and had to live on his own under a new identity, going from family to family in order to survive. Polanski would witness horrible acts done by the Nazis at the young age of 6 years old. I won't go into detail as to what, but I'm sure you can just imagine. After many years of having to survive on his own, Polanski would be reunited with his father. His mother, unfortunately, would be killed in Auschwitz. I fully believe that this experience that Roman Polanski went through was what compelled him to direct a film like The Pianist. There are many parallels between Polanski's life and the life of Władek Szpilman. I tell you all of this because this should be a match made in heaven for a film to be made. A talented director is going to helm a film that closely resembles his own life. The Pianist was practically made for Roman Polanski to direct. On a technical filmmaking level, this is about as perfect as you can get. However, some real-life events that took place would tarnish the way people view this film forever. On March 11th, 1977, Roman Polanski would be arrested for sexual assault of a 13-year-old girl. 6 counts of criminal behavior, including rape. Polanski would plead not guilty to this case and had the backing of Hollywood executives through this situation. The victim, Samantha Gailey, would arrange a plea bargain with Polanski, in which 5 of the 6 charges would be dropped. Roman Polanski would accept this offer. What you may be wondering was what exactly was that one charge that Roman Polanski would plead guilty to? Unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. Roman Polanski would go through 90 days in psychiatric evaluation at the California Institution for Men and a 42-day jail sentence. After said sentence, Roman Polanski found out some very interesting information about the judge for his case. The judge was planning on ignoring the plea bargain and instead was going to give Roman Polanski 50 years in prison. After hearing this information, Roman Polanski decided that he did not want to show up to the sentencing and devised a plan to leave the US. Roman Polanski flew out to London and from London to France, a day before his sentencing. He is now protected from extradition and has lived mostly in France since then. This was in 1978. In 1988, a decade later, Samantha Gailey sued Polanski for alleged sexual assault, false imprisonment, seduction of a minor, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. It wasn't until 5 years later that Roman Polanski agreed to settle all of this with Samantha Gailey. In 1997, there was a confidential financial agreement, with the amount owed to Samantha Gailey being around $600,000. In a 2003 interview with Larry King, Samantha Gailey, who is now known as Samantha Geimer, stated that the police and media was not acting fast enough when this assault happened, making it difficult for people to believe her case. In 2008, Geimer also stated that she did not wish for Roman Polanski to be held for further punishment or consequences. For about 30 years, it seemed like Roman Polanski was safe as long as he evaded the US. But in 2009, this would not be the case.
Roman Polanski was arrested in Switzerland on Saturday in connection with a 3-decade-old sex crime.
Roman Polanski was arrested in Switzerland at the request of US authorities. This arrest brought back the case into the public eye. Hollywood celebrities and European politicians wanted Roman Polanski to be freed from this issue, but the American public and people of France and Poland were against Roman Polanski and wanted to see him extradited to the US. After serving 2 months in jail in Zurich, and then being on house arrest while waiting for the appeal of the extradition, Roman Polanski was declared a free man by the Swiss on July 12, 2010. Roman Polanski would be released from custody and would not have any charges. He wouldn't be completely off the hook, however. As of February 2020, his movements are limited to France, Poland, and Switzerland. Better than nothing, I guess. One of the most upsetting things I read about this case was how the victim felt about the situation all these years later. While on a TV interview in 2010, Samantha Geimer blamed the media, judge, and courts for her troubling time. She said that collectively they caused more problems for her than Roman Polanski, stating that she believes the judge dragged out this case solely for media exposure. One might hope that this huge scandal would make Roman Polanski relevant in the filmmaking world. That unfortunately is not the case. In February of 2020, Roman Polanski would win Best Director at France's equivalent of the Oscars, the Césars. Some actors did storm off when they heard his name being mentioned, so at the very least, actors are still willing to take a stand on this issue. This whole case makes my stomach turn. It breaks my heart that one of the greatest films of all time is directed by a person who committed this repulsive crime on a young girl. It makes me question my morals on whether or not I can allow myself to watch The Pianist or any of Roman Polanski's films without feeling guilty of doing so. He clearly had talent when it came to strictly filmmaking, but it's incredibly hard to overlook his real-life problems when watching his films. I have not seen any newly released Roman Polanski films since I learned about this case, and I never will. Most of his previous movies like Chinatown and the aforementioned Pianist, I had already watched before learning about this case. There's no going back and erasing my memory from watching those films anymore. As a lifelong film fan, The Pianist is one of the greatest films ever put to screen. It is deserving of all the praise it gets on a filmmaking, technical level. But I think it's important for me that when I recommend this film for people to watch, that I mention the history of Roman Polanski. People deserve the right to choose whether or not morally they can allow themselves to watch this film. Now, I do want to say that choosing to watch this film does not at all make you a bad person, but you still deserve the right to make an informed decision on whether or not this film is right for you.